Kindly raise as dignitaries arrive. My humble request to the audience to kindly raise as dignitaries arrive. I request you to kindly remain standing. I request to applaud and receive our honor and the chief guest of today. Thank you. May I request the dignitaries to kindly take seat on the dais and the panelists in the first row of the auditorium. Thank you. Kindly be seated. Good morning, distinguished guests, Madam Dean, Faculty of Management and Commerce, Head of the Department, FOMC, my dear colleagues and students. Momentous milestones mark PES University as this prestigious institution enters its Golden Jubilee year. We dedicate ourselves towards providing learner-centric and holistic environment for students to get equipped and enabled to face the real world. When academic amalgamates with corporate requirements, COLLATE appears, and thus we are here today to witness COLLATE 2023. On behalf of Department of Commerce and Management, I welcome Chancellor and Vice Chancellor of PES University in absentia. I'm privileged to welcome our keynote speaker for the day, Dr. Madhavi Lokhande, and the eminent panelists, Dr. Narayani Ramachandran, Dr. Suresh Gopal, Dr. K.C. Adaina, Dr. Shubha Lakshmi Sanjay Joshi in absentia, Dr. Prashant Kumar Chowdhury, and Dr. Rajesh Barik. Dear team, it's indeed a pleasure to all of us to have you here. I extend my warm welcome to the Dean of FOMC, Dr. Shaila Shri Haridas, Principal of PS University Electronic City Campus, Dr. Subhash Kulkarni, Chairperson of FOMC, Dr. Suresh A.S., and Chairperson of Department of Mechanical Engineering, Dr. Satish Yesvi, the convener of Symposium, Dr. Rupa Sarkar. I would also like to welcome all my dear colleagues, participants across the campuses, and my dear students. Welcome to COLLATE 2023. Prayer ensures auspiciousness and well-being of the event. The melody and the phrasing of the music makes our faith memorable. The purpose of the prayer goes beyond mere instructions, and it connects us to the God. We will now have invocation song by Mr. Raghuram Manikandan. All are requested to remain seated and refrain from clapping post-invocation song.
ज्योतिरूपिणी ज्ञानदायिनी ज्योतिरूपिणी ज्ञानदायिनी जगन्मोहिनी शान्तस्वरूपिणी जगन्मोहिनी शान्तस्वरूपिणी ज्योतिरूपिणी ज्ञानदायिनी निगमागमनुते नीरदलोचने निगमागमनुते नीरदलोचने नित्यकल्याणी निर्मलरूपिणी नित्यकल्याणी निर्मलरूपिणी दीनजनमनो लासिनी वाणी वीणापाणि पन्नगवेणि दीनजनमनो लासिनी वाणी वीणापाणि पन्नगवेणि ज्योतिरूपिणी ज्ञानदायिनी जगन्मोहिनी शान्तस्वरूपिणी ज्योतिरूपिणी ज्ञानदायिनी.
Thank you, Mr. Raghuram Manikandan, for soulful rendition. May I now invite on the dais our keynote speaker and other dignitaries, the Dean, the HOD, and the convener of the conference to join us in traditional lighting of the lamp. Ladies and gentlemen, may we request our dignitaries to please proceed to the lamp to commence an auspicious occasion with divine blessings. I request all the delegates to kindly join the dignitaries. I request the panelists to kindly take seat on the first row of the auditorium and other dignitaries to remain seated on the dais as per the name board instructed. I extend my sincere gratitude to our esteemed dignitaries for ceremonial lighting of the lamp. May I now call upon Dr. Subhash Kulkarni, the principal of PES University Electronicity Campus, to address the gathering on COLLATE 2023.
Great morning to you all. On this day, PS takes its pride in continuing its value-added efforts, bringing in the awareness from the field also, bringing in the awareness from the academics also, trying to understand how they can be collated. And that's what is the theme today, COLLATE 2023. On this COLLATE 2023 activity, a buzzing activity for Faculty of Management and Commerce, may I have the privilege of welcoming the dignitaries for the today's session, especially Dr. Madhavi Lokhande and Dean of FOMC, Dr. Shaileshri Haridas, Chairperson of Mechanical, Dr. Satish Asvi, and Chairperson of FOMC at PS Electronics City Campus, Dr. Suresh, Dr. Rupa Sarkar, who is the coordinator, faculty, friends, and students. It's a great opportunity to be part of this particular event, which is a kind of a break kind of a thing from the regular academic activity. At the same time, the break being used properly with a value-added activity. Okay. So I see people from the corporate background here on the campus with varied experience, you can say, from entrepreneurship to economics to finance to HR, wide spectrum, right? So it's a right combination that has come together. Usually, this kind of integrated facilitation is very rare. So I congratulate the efforts made by FOMC for bringing all these people together on the stage simultaneously, so that you people can cut across your own barriers and ask questions from different domains and then try to figure out how the things are moving around. And also find out what each department has its roles to play. And find out with your intuition, where do you fit across. This is the right opportunity, I feel. I congratulate once again, I welcome you all, and then looking forward for a beautiful session in 2 days. Along with you, I will also be looking forward to be part of this event. Thank you. Thanks for giving this support. Thank you.
Thank you for your kind words, sir. I'm indeed very excited to kickstart COLLATE 2023 formally with such diverse and dynamic representatives from various academic backgrounds. With that note, may I now call upon Dr. Rupa Sarkar, convener of COLLATE 2023, to declare it open.
Honorable dignitaries, distinguished guests, my dear colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. A blessed Tuesday morning and a very warm welcome to PES University EC campus. We Faculty of Management and Commerce are honored and delighted to host the first edition of the Symposium COLLATE 2023. We have amongst us delegates from 8 prestigious higher education institutions and 7 landmark companies going to be here with us today and tomorrow. We are proud to have all of you here at this flagship first meet of the academia and corporate fraternity. COLLATE 2023 is a symposium which is trying to leverage education for agility, talent, and employability. It will have a unique distinction of bringing together experts from around the country to leverage talent development. One of the primary reasons for job dissatisfaction, especially among new recruits, is absence of nurturing intervention of talent development undertaken while they are in their learning years. In educational institutions, it has to be inculcated. Students have to be nudged to attend grooming sessions which hone their talents, but it has to follow a structural framework, an exploratory approach to focus on priority aspects which the industry wants. A bridge has to be constructed with scientific argumentation behind each module of that framework. Coming to employability, there is no denying the fact that improving the industry readiness of graduates should be the strategic focus for building a skilled and employable future workforce. This could dramatically reduce the time lost in integrating new employees with the corporate structure and bringing them to par with industry's expectations. Faster assimilation into the company gives more room to the workforce for their professional development and career progression. There's a crucial need to analyze the agendas we are trying to focus in this symposium. We have arrived at an inflection point which is more like a silence before a major low algorithm storm, where a VUCA, what is VUCA? Volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous situation is already posed by technology and machines opening and closing many doorways in and around us on a day-to-day basis. One certain thing is certain. Among all this turbulence, that is, any form of world would need continuous learning, agility, and talent. That established, do we really have a mutually agreed upon framework between the providers and seekers of human resources? Do we have that? A country which has so-called ticked all the right financial boxes with its recent budget, a country endowed with so-called demographic dividend, a country which is so-called predicted to become a $5 trillion economy in the next couple of years, does stand a fair chance. This human supply chain disruption cannot be risked at any cost. Who can play a more justifiable role but higher education institutions indeed? Friends, this symposium is taking place at a time where a slew of historic reforms in India are laying the foundation for greater formalization and digitization of the economy, creating the right institutional milieu for markets to work as the instrument of growth, efficiency, and inclusion. Many issues which have had tempered market mechanisms in the past are fast fading away, providing a much larger canvas for the instrumentality of externalities provided by education. In tune with all this, I now introduce our erudite keynote speaker, Dr. Madhavi Lokhande, Dean at Wellington Institute of Management Development Research, Bengaluru. Her work with women micro-entrepreneurs helped her get a PhD from SNDT Women's University and also led her to be a mentor for ISB Goldman Sachs 10K program. She founded Padhai, a charitable trust that promotes the cause for inclusive education. She is the co-founder of Evangelitica Leadership Consulting LLP that curates learning programs using the philosophy of kinesthetic learning. As a researcher, Dr. Lokhande has published several papers and case studies in leading journals and international and national case clearinghouses. Dr. Madhavi was awarded by the Higher Education Forum for Excellence in Contribution to Management Education. A fellow of the Cost Accountants of India and the Institute of Management Accountants, US. She also holds the position
is there for us. So I have requested ma'am to come down there and to talk so that the screen will be there. You all can turn the chair so that you can see the screen there. Wherever you are sitting, you can just turn the chair. students, those are sitting at the back are not required because we have 2 screens from both the sides. Yeah, I understand, yeah.
Turning the chairs, we could have just sent them to the gallery. They could have seen all of them repeating.
Yeah, that's fine. 2 minutes, they will settle. They also need some exercise, you know. Otherwise, children know at the age of 17, 18, 19, they have a lot of energy. And all right, we have 30 seconds to settle down. Can I have a few faculty volunteers to help us for the students, those who are at the back, to settle down faster?
Student volunteers, kindly help your fellow mates to get things arranged quickly.
Should we just check the mic once there with ma'am? Student volunteer, can you help me in checking the mic there? Check it once. All right, thank you, ma'am. Over to you.
Good morning, everyone. Am I audible on both the sides? This is like playing a match now where you have 2 sides opposite to each other. So I'll have to figure out which team I belong to, maybe sometimes here and sometimes there. Okay, folks, so I had a plan in terms of what I should speak when I saw the theme. So I said, sustainable development, let's talk of sustainability. Then I said, should it be trying to tell you people what sustainability means and what are sustainability goals? But then I rolled all this and I just threw it out of the window because I said, you all have this knowledge and this concept right at your fingertips. Right? So what are MDGs? What are SDGs? Why did we start talking about sustainability? I'm sure you all are aware. And through these 2 days, today and tomorrow, I'm sure you'll hear more of it. So what are we going to do in this session now? I thought, let me have you look around and see what's happening, right? So that's what we are going to do in the next 20 minutes. We are going to look around and see where you stand on this globe and where you stand in our country. Where do you stand in the state and city where you are in? And what is it that you are doing and what is the role that you can play? Right? This is what we're going to look at. So, where has education taken us? Right? Education has taken us to a place where we know that something is not okay, but we are okay with it so long as it does not fall in our zone of not being okay. So we always want to be in the mid path. You know what the cat on the wall does? The cat on the wall decides which side to jump on depending on where it can see food or where it can see some shelter. There's no stance. Wedding places, wherever. So long as it is not right outside my door, I'm happy with it. Because if it was outside my door, it makes me uncomfortable. And all I want is that discomfort not to be with me, but to with somebody else. We are Indians, right? We are good at jugaad. So that jugaad, unfortunately, is being used intellectually in a very wrong way to say, hey, can I just push this problem from my door to some other place? So what is it that our society is teaching us? And what is it that we want to do? We have been told that be the change you want to see. Make a difference. Be the change agent. I'm not sure how many of us have actually understood what being a change agent means, what being a differentiator means. Because if I'm safe, like I said, as in my previous slide, if there's no discomfort to me and I'm feeling safe, I don't mind whatever is happening. The others can drown. Right? So when it comes to sustainability also, this is how we are thinking. Oh, ice is melting. No, that's in Antarctica. It's not in Bangalore, right? The snow on Himalayas is melting, but that's in Himachal region. It's not in Bangalore. But guys, if you remember what happened in the rains which happened in Chennai, that melting, that water came till the doorsteps. So it's as close as next state for us right now. So this won't be far away when you say that the water in the boat can also move to the other side. It's not going to stay in one side of the boat. So I want to tell you a story about a school in Thar region, the desert region in Rajasthan, right? So in 45 to 48 degrees temperature, you have students walking across the hot sun, the desert, just to be able to get some education, right? Some smart lady, Dinah Kellogg, has set up a school in that same area. Anybody here who knows the name of the school? Anybody wants to take a guess? What's the school? It's very famous. What's the name of the school in Thar Desert? Come on, Googlers. What's the name of the school? There are prizes for the right answer. No, PS is yet to go to Rajasthan. Rajkumari? Ratna Vilas Girls School. Okay? Solar panels, geothermal energy. The way the entire architecture of the school is that it is self-ventilated. There's no need for an AC. You see those girls studying in the classroom there? Everything enabled using green energy. Right? So somebody who's not an Indian, by the way, thought of what will make the education for kids in Rajasthan very pleasant. So she came up with this concept of a school which is self-sufficient in terms of energy. Like I said, full solar panels, there's geothermal energy, there is rainwater harvesting, there's a water management system which keeps running and recycling so that the place is very cool and students also get to enjoy a whole lot of things. So you see, guys, where education is moving in terms of being sustainable, right? So now you tell me, anybody here, what does sustainability mean to you? What does it mean to you? You're hearing so much. You're sitting in a conference for 2 days where the central theme is sustainability. To you as an individual, what does it mean? Anybody here who is brave and wants to take a shot at this? What does sustainability mean to you? Does it mean from tomorrow you'll stop carrying water bottles, plastic ones, and you will not use recyclable, non-recyclable bottles? What does it mean to you? This session, when I was asked by Dr. Rupa what should it be called, I said, please call it doing more with less. Does sustainability mean that you'll not pile your plate with food just because you've gone for a reception or wedding like 3 idiots, right? Does it mean that you'll not overbuy things and throw them? Does it mean that you're going to stop using those plastic bottles, buy, throw them? All it requires is carry water from your home. What does it mean to you? Because what we have done with our life today is this. Right? Everywhere. Where there is a waterfront, where there is a beach, where there are open grounds, wherever we find place, this is what we are doing. And we are expecting government, municipal corporation, the local civic bodies to clean up the mess that we have made. We also created this. Every time there is an event, and Bangalore, by the way, is known. I'm sure all of you guys must be visiting, right? There are so many shows which happen, music shows. Have you ever visited that place after that music band has come, sung for 2 hours and left? Have you ever seen that place, how it looks like? This is how it looks like, full of litter. And who's created all this? Who's created all this? We have created this, right? And this is exactly where we are living. So guys, the reason for showing you these pictures is sustainability is not for conferences. It's not for some top management people to sit and discuss. It is for you, me, all of us. Because, like I said, the last picture on the left, okay, is from Chennai, where the entire city was flooded. Plus, I'm sure you people know what happens in Bombay in the months of July, where rain just inundates the city. What is the cause? Encroachments? Somebody here said something. What's the cause? Landfills with garbage, with plastic. Stormwater drains filled with plastic, filled with garbage. This is exactly where we live. And we want to be one of the top economies of the world without setting our house in order. Because irrespective of the economic development the nation does, the kind of standing we have on a world platform, when we are not able to set our house in order, this is how we look to the rest of the world. And those, by the way, are the way the country is becoming hot and hotter. So who's going to do something about this? Policymaker? Government? Police department? Income tax officer? Even if they did, they will not see a change, because the change has to happen from this younger generation, where you will take a stance. It's not just humans. What have we done to the animal life? This is the marine life which is suffering because of the dump which goes from water bodies, which means your local lake, to the river, to the sea, and to the ocean. And these are all actual pictures, okay, which have been clicked and put up. So when I asked you the question, what does sustainability mean to you? What I would want is not the definition of sustainability and what is it, SDG, how many goals are there, but you as a citizen leader, okay, what is it that one small change you could bring in your life where it will impact not just your life, your community, your city, the animal life around you. After the COVID, I saw most people wanted to have pets at home, right? I'm presuming that having a pet at home is because of the love for animal life. If that is true, if that assumption is true, then this is not what we can do to the animal life. And I've just showed you 4 pictures. You could find a million. Guys, do you know that about 6 million students graduate every year from colleges in India? Roughly 3.5 are girls and similar number is boys. 6 to 6.5. That's the number of millions of students graduating. About 30% want to go abroad to do their masters. 30% join IT companies. There are 30 to 40% who are looking at genuinely solving a business problem or a societal problem. Because that is what is going to make a change. So, as the upcoming generation, you guys are that powerful force or change, right? We don't have to search for the Gretas of the world. How many of you watched the Shark Tank series this season? Show of hands. Did you watch Shark Tank series? Very few. Why others were watching Friends still? What were you watching? Huh? Or people are stuck in Big Boss? No, na? I'm hoping better from you guys. So, what you see on the top right there is what we are calling as green companies. Companies started by youngsters like you, where they want to get to green solutions, right? Be it energy, be it automobiles, be it providing of services in a green manner. So we don't necessarily have to look at some Greta and say that, oh, that is her headache. What is it to me? Because the power to do something different for yourself, for your country, is in your hands. And What you see on the right top there is those who have started companies which are called green companies today, which are trying to do things which are very, very sustainable. So why is education? Let's answer this question so that tomorrow, today, for the rest of the sessions and for tomorrow, you are better equipped. Why is education for sustainable development important? Hey, can you remove that video of mine? IT desk? Can you remove that center video of mine? So, I want you to go back.
Going to talk about biomimicry. What is it?
I want you to go back later and see what this Anthropocene means, okay? Because it's a very interesting area of study which all of you can very easily understand. Something which is happening because of human actions and the geological period which is getting shaped by those actions, which means encroaching lake beds. What has it resulted in? It has resulted in every time there's a rain, the water doesn't have a place to go. Because what was a river bed, you have built buildings on it or constructed buildings on it. So it is important for all students to understand something called as Anthropocene and to try and understand the definition of education for sustainable development, because unless you people are empowered, educated, you become knowledgeable, you really don't know what to do with this theme called as sustainable development. Like a couple of years ago, most of the conferences were on corporate social responsibility, right? Then they moved on to understanding some aspects which companies could do. But guys, it doesn't always start with corporate. It doesn't start with C. Even in CSR, it should start with ISR, which is individual social responsibility. So in case of sustainable development, your companies are not going to do everything. Something has to be done by you, the youth of India, the individuals today, in any small manner, right? So that's why Anthropocene is important to understand. Can we move to the next slide, please? So when we started looking at what is it that colleges can teach students as part of trying to understand sustainability, the first and foremost comes systems thinking, right? For understanding systems thinking, I think the best way is to look at a very small video. Again, it's based on a real life incident. Can you play that first video? So when we say systems thinking, it is trying to look at a situation and trying to come up with some kind of a solution for that, right?
In the 1950s, the Dayak people of Borneo, an island in Southeast Asia,
please play it from the beginning. Yeah.
In the 1950s, the Dayak people of Borneo, an island in Southeast Asia, were suffering from an outbreak of malaria, so they called the World Health Organization for help. The World Health Organization had a ready-made solution, which was to spray copious amounts of DDT around the island. With the application of DDT, the mosquitoes that carried the malaria were knocked down, and so was the malaria. There were some interesting side effects, though. The first was that the roofs of people's houses began to collapse on their heads. Turns out the DDT not only killed off the malaria-carrying mosquitoes, but it also killed a species of parasitic wasp that had controlled a population of thatch-eating caterpillars. Thatch being what the roofs of the Dayak people's homes were made from. Without the wasps, the caterpillars multiplied and flourished and began munching their way through the villagers' roofs. That was just the beginning. The DDT affected a lot of the island's other insects, which were eaten by the resident population of small lizards called geckos. The biological half-life of DDT is around 8 years, so animals like geckos do not metabolize it very fast. It stays in their system for a long time. Over time, the geckos began to accumulate pretty high levels of DDT, and while they tolerated the DDT fairly well, the island's resident cats, which dined on the geckos, did not. The cats ate the geckos, and the DDT contained in the geckos killed the cats. With the cats gone, the island's population of rats came out to play. We all know what happens when rats multiply and flourish. Pretty soon the Dayak people were back on the phone to the World Health Organization, only this time it wasn't malaria that was the problem. It was the plague and the destruction of their grain stores, both of which were caused by the overpopulation of rats. This time, though, the World Health Organization didn't have a ready-made solution and had to invent one. What did they do? They decided to parachute live cats into Borneo. Operation Cat Drop occurred courtesy of the Royal Air Force and eventually stabilized the situation.
You can stop it. Thank you. Complete that, no? Complete that sentence, please. So simple questions often require complex and reflective thinking if good solutions are to be found. And it is important that things are by design and not by default. So something which started as a simple problem of mosquitoes, and this is, by the way, a true story, okay? Had the Air Force had to be called in to drop cats in Borneo for a simple problem where there were too many mosquitoes and there was malaria. So when we say systems thinking is important for youngsters like you because many times we come up with solutions which are like Band-Aid. Okay, we'll do this and this will solve the problem. Because what we miss out there is the Band-Aid can cover the hurt. It does not cure. So what is needed? Needed is systems thinking, trying to think of a complex problem and trying to think of a 360-degree stakeholder perspective, where you look at a problem not just from your eyes, but from the eyes of all the other stakeholders. Right? The next, after systems thinking, comes how do we use design thinking? How do we get inspired by nature? How can we look for solutions around us? Can you play the next video, please? Which is there in the same slide.
If you enjoyed this video,
The next one.
means life, mimicry means imitate, so biomimicry is the practice of imitating life. It looks to nature to provide inspiration and direction to sustainably solve our most pressing challenges. It is innovation inspired by nature. Human beings are clever. We've created cities, economies, and whole societies. But at the same time, and without meaning to, we've also created massive sustainability challenges for future generations and ourselves. Biomimicry is a way to address these problems by creating policies, products, and processes that are adapted to life on Earth. The idea goes like this. plants, animals, and microbes are amazing. They have spent billions of years engineering and testing ways to thrive on the planet. 3.8 billion years to be precise. That's a lot of research and development. After all this R&D, what didn't work doesn't exist anymore, and what surrounds us has learned to survive. Solutions to challenges large and small are all around us. We just need to look. Here are two examples. Sustainable energy provision is a massive sustainability challenge. The race is on to find economically viable sustainable energy solutions. Biomimicry asks, what could we learn from nature that could help us produce sustainable energy or make more efficient the current alternative technologies that are already out there? Seemingly large and unwieldy, humpback whales display surprising agility in the water. This is due mainly to their flippers, which have large irregular bumps called tubercles across their leading edges. Inspired by these flippers, a company called Whale Power has developed turbine blades with bumps called tubercles on the leading edge. These blades promise greater efficiency in many applications, from wind turbines to hydroelectric turbines, to irrigation pumps to ventilation fans. In fact, using these blades to catch wind could provide up to 20% increased efficiency, making this type of alternative energy competitive with other energy sources. Thank you, humpback whales. Here is another example of biomimicry in action. The Shinkansen bullet train is one of the fastest trains in the world. Offering high-speed travel between several of Japan's metropolitan areas, it used to travel over 200 miles per hour. But every time the train emerged from a tunnel, air pressure changes made a sonic boom like a large thunderclap, causing people 1/4 mile away who lived along the train line to complain. Japan has strict noise pollution laws, so this had to be solved. The train's chief engineer was a dedicated bird watcher. He asked himself, is there something in nature that travels quickly and smoothly between two different mediums? The kingfisher dives from the air into water to catch fish and produces almost no splash at all compared to similar-sized birds or animals. Modeling the front end of the train after the beak of kingfishers resulted in a quieter train, one that uses 15% less electricity while traveling 10% faster. By emulating nature, the bullet train designers were able to solve an important problem. Imagine what other problems might be solved by turning to the world around us and asking, what would nature do? Check out biomimicry.org and asknature.org to learn more about this exciting practice of innovation inspired by nature, as well as stories and examples. If you found this video useful, please subscribe.
You can go back to the PPT. So there are so many solutions around us which people like you who are innovative, smart, intelligent have gone, checked, identified and seen how they can be used as a sustainable solution to solve life's problems, right? That's why understanding sustainability, understanding how the problem of sustainability can be approached is very, very important. Can we have the PPT, please? So trying to get the competence which is required, which is systems thinking, trying to see how biomimicry, how design thinking, how innovation can be used, that is what is more important. But folks, what is even more important is not to get carried away by a lot of information which is available very easily to us. You as students should understand the power of research, the power of reading, trying to understand what kind of intensive or extensive reading is required to understand the problem entirely. Because tomorrow it is you who is going to be a global citizen leader, okay? Unless you really want to be the frog in the well and you're saying, very happy, I'm coming to PES, going back, I just have my attendance in place. I have that 70% marks in place. I'm happy with whatever I have got. You will end up with a job which is very routine. That also I'm not sure, looking at how the Googles and Microsofts of the world are laying off people. But if there is that little bit of that entrepreneurial spirit in you, little bit of that passion and initiative to say that I have got the smartness and agility to look at the problems of the world and see how I can be a contributor. How do I look for green jobs? How do I look at what is going to make a change in the society? That is what is going to be very important. Can you play this video, please? Were you impressed by it? You like the video? You're impressed? This video I have shown so that you will understand the power of knowledge and the power of reporting. What you have seen is typically what is available at H&M's website. It is available on their social media handle, saying how they are a very sustainable company. But do you know what is the truth? Do you know what is the truth? If you research, if you dig deep into information, you will realize H&M in the fashion category, in the apparel category, is one of those companies which ranks very high in terms of its unsustainable practices. Do you know why? Fast fashion, great. What happens in fast fashion? New trends, new clothing, and new trends means fast clothing. Fast clothing means come up with designs fast, come up with those kind of clothes where you will use a couple of times and throw it away. Because their business is fast fashion. How are these clothes made? The clothes are made so that youngsters like you will go and buy, which means very affordable. The fabric used by them has got millions of those microfibers which go and sit in your washing machine. From your washing machine, it goes via the drain to the nearest water body, the lake, river, sea, and ocean. And this is exactly the same microfiber which the marine life is consuming. I don't know if you recently saw an article where there were thousands of fish which were dead because of the polluted waters, right? Fashion, apparel, these are the companies which contribute maximum to unsustainable practices, simply because their money lies in making revenue which comes from fast fashion and quick fashion. So guys, bottom line of all this video and this information is, don't get carried away. As a student, your term or span of this education in college is also so that you research, read more, learn more. Don't just restrict yourself to the first 10 hits in Google and say, oh, I got the solution for this. Because if you did sustainable fashion and apparel, this H&M video would come up in the first 10. But if you look for more information, you realize that actually they are the ones who are causing maximum harm because of their quick fashion kind of a theme which they have. So as students, please research more, learn more, and be the change that you want to see. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. as she has rightly put the platform for research, and SDG is the best example for us to take it ahead. Ma'am, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for taking out the time. And as you all are aware, Wellinger is one of the most reputed institution in India and globally, where almost all the faculty members, they have great research background on the other side. We always keep on talking more about the research. We do less of research. The way ma'am just mentioned, it's not just the Google part of it. The research and the publication, it also helps us to showcase to the world outside, saying that we have done the authentic work. Otherwise, if we simply do some projects here and there, maybe give an SDG as an example, if we simply take up some projects, how do we showcase to the corporate tomorrow that the work which we have done is authentic work? There is no way. So let's go one step ahead of publishing it. Otherwise, I don't know whether ChatGPT has done the project for me, or something else has done the project for us, right? So whenever we publish, we know that, okay, it is authentic work and all. Maybe in the afternoon session, we have the panel discussion now, and in the afternoon session, all these experts will be helping you with your own paper. I know around 30 or 35 of you have already registered, and whatever the paper you have, come with the paper so that we can sit one-to-one with you, and you can take some tips from all these experts to make this scopus ready. Like, how do I publish a better paper? That's something we should have. That information at the end of the day is the intention of day one for all of us. Ma'am, thank you again for taking out the time. Over to the computers for taking it ahead. Please give a big round of applause for Ma'am Madhavi. Thank you so much. Over to you, Sunil sir.
Thank you so much. With that note, we have understood the importance of collaboration, of education and sustainable development. Sustainability should be the talk on the dining table. Only then we can be the change agent. Solution should be by design, not by default. My heartfelt thanks for the keynote speaker, Dr. Madhavi Lokhande, for making this day a remarkable one. I request all the audience to kindly give her a big round of applause. Ma'am, we would certainly look forward to attain furthermore sessions with you in future too. Thank you. My now request the Dean, FOMC, Dr. Shailashri Haridas, to felicitate the keynote speaker. Thank you, dear teachers. May I now request Dr. Narayani Ramachandran to kindly address the gathering.
Good morning, everyone. It gives me a pleasure to interact with each and every one of you. Thank you to Dr. Sailashri for giving me this opportunity to discuss with you for 5 minutes. Okay? You've seen a wonderful presentation by Dr. Madhavi. I didn't hear many voices. I want to hear. I'm going to ask you and give you few choices. I want you to raise your hands. Correct? Will you do that? Yes? No? Okay. You're all doing your graduate program. First year, second year, or third year. Some of you are doing masters. Am I right? Yes or no? Louder. Correct. So how many of you want to pursue masters? Raise your hand. Master degree. Nicely up. I have to gauge whether it is majority or not. Okay. Out of that, how many wants to go abroad and study? Little up. Someone is pulling somebody's hand up. Your own hand here. You okay? Few of you. Okay. How many want to pursue a career? Then decide on the master. Raise your hands. Okay. Okay. How many wants to turn out to be an entrepreneur? Self-employed. Okay. But still the number doesn't seem to be sum up to the total. That means remaining people, what do you plan to do? Sit at home, enter the marriage market? What is that? What is that you want to do? Self-employed or not yet decided category? How many of you are not yet decided category? Please raise your hands. Not yet decided. Yes. Feel free to raise your hand. Only one I am seeing. Okay. Now, I just want to tell why I ask you this question is, whatever you want to pursue, especially commerce and finance students, they are given traditional choices with respect to equity research, MBA, MCOM, ICWA, management accountant, company secretary, equity research, CFA, FRM. These are all the degrees people are usually pursue as a master degree. Yeah? You want me to stand in a place? Okay. The reason why I ask you this question is, if you want to become employable, or go for further education, it is mandated you need to have some knowledge more than what Google gives you, ChatGPT gives you, and Bing gives you. What is Bing? Another ChatGPT type, right? There are 22 different ChatGPTs are there. So if you're going to repeat what ChatGPT is going to give it to me, I will not employ you, will I? Will I? Will anybody get employed? Will anybody go for master degree? Then still you do it. So the importance of research, whatever information that you are going to get it, what Dr. Madhavi has very emphatically emphasized, provide solutions. Provide solutions by understanding the problem, real problem, get it related, closer to the problem. Lovely video she plays on mosquitoes, right? How the problem turned out to be much more problematic. So will you start thinking about it? How will you provide solutions? Please start focusing on your research. I noticed from your dean, you are writing research papers. That is the first stepping stone for you to focus on your providing solutions. Don't write the paper just to finish your research and literature, problem statement, then one paragraph analysis, 10 statistical tools, then finally conclusion, get a degree, got graduation and go away. Don't do it. Don't do it. Pick up the points that has been discussed in this COLLATE. There are multiple entrepreneurs, professionals turned out from the universities by taking up a simple problem. Work hard, heartfelt dedication. So during the panel discussion, I would want you to interact and note down all the latest trends which are happening in the field of ESG, neurofinance, greenwashing, moonlighting. Your learned faculty members have put down lot of topics. I hope you understand the eminence of this particular list and make use of it for your research opportunities. Can I give a guarantee that you will do it? Sure? Yes, no? Very few voices. Yes? Will we get questions while we are having a discussion? No? Yes? Thank you. Now you can go for a break. I suppose. Correct? Break, ma'am? Thank you.
Request students to kindly be seated. Thank you so much, ma'am, for reiterating the importance of research paper. I'm sure that the students would take the mini projects or the research paper a little vital and go ahead with it to get up with a good paper. May I now request the chairperson, Dr. Suresh A.S., to give closing remark for the inaugural ceremony.
Okay. So good morning, students. So I know that break has already been announced, and I stand between you and the break. So I don't take much time. So I've got the job of closing this session also. So let me try and complete at the maybe 1 or 2 minutes. So first of all, let me thank our Dean Ma'am, Dr. Shailesh Haridas, for giving us the opportunity to conduct the COLLATE 2023 symposium. Thank you, ma'am. So, first of all, I would also thank Madhavi Lokande ma'am also for wonderful session. Ma'am, indeed, it was a good session. And I have noted down some couple of points. I hope that you all have learned something new. And we have another half day and 1 more day left. So I hope that it will be a wonderful learning session for you. So please do attend, make a notes of all the things, use our library, whatever questions you have related to research. We have eminent speakers, guests who are coming today, day after tomorrow. So post good questions, okay? Let your research journey be a wonderful road ahead. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for those kind words. Dear guests and faculty members, please note that we have a short break of 10 minutes, and I request all the students to kindly come back and be seated in another 10 minutes. You can break now. Thank you.
Check. Testing. Want to check?
Check.
Want to check?
Check. Want to check.
Check. Testing.
Check. Testing.
Okay.
Students, if you're getting eatables inside the auditorium, please be aware that the eateries are not allowed inside the auditorium. Please avoid eating and drinking any food items inside the auditorium. Kindly maintain the decorum. Volunteers, I want you to have a check on that.
Rakshan bro, come on. Gagan. Banu Teja, Gagan. Hey Guru, vada. Vada. Naveen, hey Naveen, baro. Table at baro. Hey Rajardhan. Rahul. Kirtan. Salva baro. Sir aur bartara. Baro baro. Hey Spandan. Baro chair at bag ba.
Hey Rahul, Kirtan, hey Rohan, hey Tilochan.
Hey wait.
Hey Kirti Sai.
Spandan.
Hey
Baro.
Suraj, Arvind, hey Baro. Hey ಮದುವೆ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ.
Aijit. Darshak. Kirti Sai. Kirtan. Kirtan, make sure you make some good arrangement. Bro, Darshak bro. Ma'am, sir, I share the link to you, ma'am. Yeah, I can. Kirti Sai. Kushal Reddy. Ajay. Come here, man. Hey Manjunath, ಈ ಚೇರ್ ಚೇಂಜ್ ಮಾಡು.
ಪ್ರಿಯಾಂಕಾ.
Hey Manjunath, ಬಾರೋ. Hello. Banu, Banu.
Hello, good morning one and all. Okay. Good morning. Good morning, Saraswati. I'm good. Patience, so. Yeah, yeah, sure. Okay, thank you. Wish you all the best. Hi, am I audible? Hello. Yeah, yeah, you are audible. Am I audible to you?
Hello.
Hello, hello. Hello. Hello.
Okay.
Hello.
Okay, listen out students. It's noticed that some of you are bringing food, drinks inside MRD auditorium. That's strictly prohibited. I can see from here, munching, drinking. Please step aside, step outside, finish and then join back. No bringing food. Anything eatable is not allowed. Nothing to drink inside also other than water. I hope I made my point. If you are still continuing, continue it outside. Take it outside and come back.
Check.
Anything else? What? Tissue? Do we need tissue?
Welcome back, everyone. Settle down, students. Settle down. We are now moving towards the next round of the itinerary of the day, panel discussion. The theme of today's panel discussion is leveraging education and research to attain enhanced sustainable solutions. We are abundantly fortunate to have with us a panel of experts who are not only accomplished facilitators and researchers in their own fields, but also have assured us of constructing a scaffolding of knowledge around us to prepare an edifice of mutual network of learning. We are privileged to have with us today Dr. Narayani Ramachandran, Deputy Director, Narsi Monji Institute of Management Sciences, Bengaluru. She is an Associate Professor, Finance and Program Chair, MBA. Dr. Narayani is an accomplished and experienced finance professional who is associated with this institute since its inception. She holds 2 patents on implementing financial incentives to improve employee performance in an organization under the Patents Act 1970. Ma'am held the position of Finance Committee member in a central government university in India. She has been recognized as CGMA Academic Champion by the Chartered Institute of Management Accountants, UK. She is also an affiliate member of the Council for Financial Planners, Karnataka. She has published in national and international journals listed in ABDC, Scopus listing, and also has contributed towards book chapters. An avid equity market player, Madam has offered multiple MTPs for various clients including Moody's, AMBA, PNB MetLife, TVS Group of Companies, Bank of Jammu and Kashmir, and Britannia India Limited. Dr. Narayani, I welcome you, ma'am. Students, please settle down. I should not be hearing any hum sound. Kindly settle down. It's going live on YouTube and other social media handles. Please. Okay, our next panelist is Dr. Suresh Gopal. He is an Associate Professor in Finance, Symbiosis Institute of Business Management, Bengaluru. Before joining SIBM, he was associated with Christ University, has 15 years of teaching experience. His doctoral degree is from Madurai Kamraj University in 2013. He's an active researcher in behavioral finance, risk management, capital markets, published over 35 research articles in various index journals, including 17 ABDC and Scopus index journals. He is presently guiding 2 PhD scholars. He has been awarded a research grant from ICSSR in the area of entrepreneurship. Sir has published 3 books in the area of finance. We welcome you, sir. We have with us Dr. K.C. Adena. Professor Adena teaches economics at Azim Premji University, Bengaluru. He obtained his PhD from IIT Madras in the field of environmental and ecological economics. His research interests include ecosystem services and well-being, economics of climate change, and environmental valuation. My pleasure to welcome you, sir. Our next eminent delegate is Dr. Prashant Chaudhary. He has pursued his PhD in political science from the Institute for Social and Economic Change, ISEC, Bengaluru, Karnataka. His topic of PhD research was agrarian change, migration, and caste politics in Bihar. Sir has taught at Kumaraguru College of Liberal Arts and Sciences, Coimbatore, BMS College of Law, PS University, Bengaluru. He is currently teaching at Manipal Academy of Higher Education. in the Department of Public Policies. Research interests are Indian politics, international relations, and political theory. A warm welcome to you, sir. We have the privilege of having Dr. Rajesh Barik. He's currently working as an assistant professor in economics at ICFI Business School, Hyderabad. He has finished his PhD from IIT Indore. His broad area of research includes development economics and development finance. More specifically, his research focuses on financial inclusion, poverty and human development, sustainable development, digital finance, the gender gap in digital technology, and adaptability of digital technology by various marginalized communities like transgender people, women, migrant workers, sex workers, and street vendors. Other than this, he has published some of his intellectual works in various reputed national and international journals, including Springer, Emerald, Project Muse, Wiley, Sage, and many more. He has attended numerous conferences, seminars, and international platforms to share his research work. Thank you for joining us. I now welcome our guest who is in hybrid mode, Dr. Shubhalakshmi Sanjay Joshi. She'll be joining us in Google Meet mode. Ma'am is waiting. I will just introduce her as well. She is the Associate Dean for Faculty of Science, Dr. Vishwanath Karud, MIT World Peace University, Pune. It's the last 4 years serving in MIT Pune campus since 2001 July. She has 24 years of teaching experience, 6 years of industry experience. She has a PhD from University of Pune from 2011 January. She is an IEEE research reviewer. She has written books and e-books on computer fundamentals and management information systems in Springer. She has 1 patent on IoT traffic control systems. She has 2 Indian patents in March 22-23. She has worked also on vulnerability assessment tool. Ma'am has a dual degree. She has initiated international academic collaboration with University of Wisconsin, Parkside, USA, and Indiana University, Purdue University, USA for dual degree programs. I welcome you, ma'am. I now welcome our beloved Dean, Faculty of Management and Commerce, who has agreed graciously to be the moderator of this panel discussion, Dr. Shailashri Haridas. Ma'am is a person who believes that being a good person does not depend on religion, caste, creed, status in life, political views, skin color, but how you treat others. A teacher, corporate trainer, mentor, educational institution builder. She has a PhD in economics and executive program in leadership and strategies from the esteemed IIM Calcutta. She has won accolades like Best Professor in Economics Award, Institute by Central Bank of India and World Education Congress, Best Teacher Award by UNESCO Center, Maharashtra Academy of Engineering and Educational Research, Pune. Ma'am has also been nominated as member CII IWN Indian Women Network. A very warm welcome to you, ma'am. I now request the esteemed panel moderated by Dr. Shailashri Haridas to initiate the discussion as deemed appropriate for this occasion.
Thank you so much.
Good morning. Good morning, one and all.
Morning. Dr. Shubhalakshmi Joshi, good morning. Welcome you to this particular conference. We will be starting with the panel discussion here, and I'll be posting some questions to you in some time. That's the way we are, and we are 6 of us here. I don't know whether you can see us here or not. We can? Okay, all right. Good to go. Thank you so much for joining in the hybrid mode. My welcome to all the panel experts here. And I was reading the profile of all the experts, they all are having great background of research. And this is something which we always keep on talking the way I mentioned earlier, that research is something we really need to take it to the next level. What PS has done all these years is to push the bar a little. We are already good, but how do we become great is something we always keep on talking about. And if all of us can push our bar a little more, what we are doing and what we can achieve, that's something which PS always looks for. It may be the corporate or it may be the academic touch, and we always talk about the journey from academics to the corporate. The moment we always talk about research, it is not the academic research we always talk about. Nowadays, the corporate look for the people, those who are good in the research, in the sense, can you come up with an independent opinion on something, which is very, very important for us. Even if you're posting a blog, is it your thought process or it's copied from somebody? So if I'm in a position to write 100 words about a particular thing, and then if I can post it either as a blog, or I can make it as a white paper or a monogram, or say for example a research paper, if I can publish it somewhere in either in UGC Care or Scopus, those are all the things which will help for all of us to build the CVs. This is for the information of all the panel experts. We have the students of undergraduation, more students from the undergraduation, but at the same time, we also have many students from those are pursuing PhD also. So after this panel discussion, all these, for me, children, I always call them, though they are not the children like a small children, but I have a habit of calling all my students as children. So all these children will be coming up with the papers to you where they have done the literature review or they have the data, so that if you can spend some time one-to-one with them and you can give them some tips about how can they make this Scopus ready. The plan is to have the next conference in the month of November, where we'll be having the tie-up with some of the publication houses like Taylor and Francis, or some more publication houses like this, so that the conference which we'll be doing in November, these children will be in a position to publish it at that particular time, including the publication. So this is step number 1 for us to make it Scopus ready. That is the thought process of having this particular conference, and we all researchers, those are sitting here, I'm sure we will give them a lot of information about how do we make it. So taking the sustainable development goals or sustainability as one of the example, if you can talk to them now as a part of the panel, that's what we have already discussed on that, right? What I can suggest here is we all will have the opening remarks for maybe 2 minutes each, and then we will go ahead with the questions on the other side. I think that should be okay for all of us on the other side, right? So let's start from the right side, over to Dr. Narayani.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Dr. Sailashri, Dr. Rupa, for your kind words and remarkable audience here. Let me welcome you all to this discussion. Let me start with ESG and sustainable development. All of us are very familiar with acronyms, SMS, WWW. Everything we would like to have it in acronymous form. What does this ESG stands for? Let me make it with the basic principles of what it is and how does it provide you scope for research, career, and a profession built around this particular area. I want you to hear very carefully. E stands for environmental, S stands for social, and G stands for governance. Under that, there are quite a lot of principles which governs this and proceed towards sustainable development. So, ESG. Will it be applicable only for corporate houses or social welfare organization? No. It is applicable for educational institutions. You all hear about accountants, tax consultant, legal counsel being present in any kind of organization. Similarly, in future, there is going to be ESG consultant, ESG experts going to be present in each and every one of the business or non-business organization. What does this ESG stands for? Environmental, social and governance. Under that, you have a basic principle of business should conduct and convey themselves in a sustainable manner, considering all the metrics. So you have a scope to develop in terms of either sustainability or in terms of social concern or in terms of governance issues. Gone are the days where people talk about ESG only for cooperative associations or non-governmental organizations. The top 1,000 companies in India, listed in India, has already released their sustainable initiative reports. That reports started with BRSR. It is called Business Responsibility and Social Reporting System. Like MDA in annual report, BRSR has become mandatory. Being a commerce graduate, management graduates, you should be aware of it. Like you will have a HR department, you will have ESG department going forward in the companies. With this opening remarks, let me pass it over.
Thank you so much. So it's a very nice way that you have put it. What is SDG and like how these children get it, take it to the corporate on the other side from the academic. So this is the right time for all of us to think about this particular subject in terms of our research, including the finance or accounting or marketing, whatever the subject you are studying. That's probably the message which Dr. Narayani would like to give it to all of us. Sir, over to you. Sir comes with a great experience of the research from Ajim Premji University. We were just having a talk saying that Ajim Premji University started in our own campus, in PS University, where in Pixel B they had 3 floors, and what you see now is the great system which they have because of the people like him, those are associated with the university. So thank you. Over to you.
Thank you, Dr. Shaila Shri, Dr. Rupa, and the PES community for inviting me to be part of this wonderful conference. It's my real pleasure to be here, and a wonderful auditorium like this is a great sign of a great institution in that these are spaces where ideas are generated. And I want to start by saying that universities are spaces for knowledge production, both theoretical and applied knowledge, in creating the kind of society or the environment in which we want to live. This is the kind of space where we can exercise in envisioning the sort of the world, the environment that we all want to live in. And therefore I'm really excited to participate in this and speak maybe 2 or 3 quick points, by way of initial remarks, and then we can pick it up for later discussions. The first point that I wanted to say is, having framed the conference along the lines of sustainable development, I do remember the keynote speaker talking a little bit about it, but what do we really mean by sustainability? If we look at the word sustainability, we are really talking about sustaining something, right? It's a non-declining stock of capital over time. That's really what sustainability means. And if we really try to think about different types of capital, we can think about man-made capital, human capital, natural capital, social capital. We are talking of a non-declining stock of total capital over time. And that is what sustainability really means. And to all of us students who are really thinking about research problems, the first hint here is this. If we are thinking about economic growth, which really is about increasing the man-made capital, you can call it KH, for example, right? Human capital, human-made or man-made capital. The point being that our aspiration for economic growth if it comes at the cost of declining natural capital, if it comes at the cost of declining human capital, then we are not really sustaining the total stock of capital over time. And that compromises the idea of sustainability in itself. So later on, if there's time, I'm going to come back and talk more about the different types of capital and what do we mean by strong sustainability or weak conception of sustainability, and we can sort of deliberate on that later. The second point that I want to mention now is the ability to think critically about the kind of development policies that we have in our country today. How do we align various central government development policies towards land and ecosystem restoration? So if we think about National Rural Employment Guarantee Act, which is a landmark legislation in our country, which every year the government spends about 70,000 crore in its budgetary allocation, creating about 90 lakhs assets and employing about 15 million workers across the country. That's how big this public welfare program is. And we're talking about how to align this kind of development policy in a way that allows for restoration of land and ecosystem. The idea is that you tackle economic problems of unemployment by creating a policy like Manrega, but at the same time, how do we also tackle issues of biodiversity loss? How do we engage these 15 million workers to create renewable assets, right? How do we allow these 15 million workers to work on issues of water conservation, water harvesting, afforestation, reforestation, and so on? So the idea is, with one policy, how can we tackle the problem of unemployment and at the same time resulting in conditions of environmental improvement? So this concept of green jobs is something that we can a lot more seriously, deliberate upon. So I'm going to stop here for now, and I'm going to pick up later.
Thank you. Thank you so much. There's a key for all the students. You can take out your notebook and a pen, because each and every word of this is worth writing a paper further. I hope you have a pen and a paper, otherwise you can borrow from your friends. I'm a bad teacher, so I'm not going to leave without that. Maybe the volunteers can help us. Let them write. See, what sir was mentioning is about the government policy, or like how this SDG is applicable to each sector. It may be automobile, or it may be computers, or it may be education. Like whichever may be the sector you would like to work for, this is applicable. So you all should better write down these small points and then talk about. He was also talking about the economic problems of unemployment further and all. For the corporate people, it's not only the unemployment. Quiet quitting is also an issue further, right? Somewhere the unemployment stops with the policymakers, but corporates will have further problem on that. So I think you can do a research on that also, or you can write a paper on that also further. So think about this. You don't need to think too much on what should be the title of the topic if you write down these things, right? Okay. Let me go further to sir to explain, again, the opening remarks by you, sir, then we'll go ahead with the others. It's echoing a little for me, or it's for everybody, I don't know. It's for everybody? Okay.
Yeah. First, I want to thank the organizers to organizing this wonderful event with the intention of bringing that research culture among the students, to bring the research culture. And today that we are talking about that sustainability. suddenly why this, we are, everyone, wherever we are going there, and the people used to talk about the sustainability. And the ma'am is given about what is the meaning of that ESG, and sir was telling about that what is sustainability, all those things. My question is why we are suddenly that people are talking about the sustainability. If you look back that in 1980s, 90s and all, those time that industries actually they do the business not based on that market based, not market based marketing they did. They used to do that only the production or that not supply and demand based business they did. But now from the year of 1980, especially I'm talking about in Indian case. In India, after 1991, the industrialization when it started it, the people or the business people, everyone started to look about that how to make a money. And they are very much interested to grow their own business. Of course, from the policy LPG, which is opened the door for that many people, and which is facilitated to grow in such a way that the industrial growth actually is very fine. And the tremendous growth that Indian economy has actually shown because of that LPG, the policies. But at what cost that we got this growth? At the cost of the society, at the cost of environment, at the cost of governance. These are three things that we are killing all these three things in the one side and we are getting the growth. This growth will not sustain for the long term. This is understood by all over the world, everyone. That is why everyone is talking about that sustainability. Because the business itself is running, they're doing their business in the planet itself. If the planet is no more, then the businesses can't able to exist. Right? They are doing the business among the public. If the public is not healthy, it's not good, they can't do the business. And the business people, they are getting the whatever material from the environment. If their environment is not enough to give that whatever material required for the industry, they can't do the business. Right? So, in order to get that long-term growth, the sustainability is must. So that is why the people are talking about the sustainability. But here, today I am here to talk about, not about that what is sustainability and how we can able to attain the sustainability under. So my specialization is fully that in the finance area. So just I'm going to talk about that sustainable finance. What is sustainable finance? If you are the investor, you people are going to be a manager, right? And you are going to take some kind of strategic decision in terms of that investments. While making that investment, what are the points that you have to consider that I'm going to talk about it. And I stop here and later we can talk about that what as a investor I have to look at under sustainable investment.
Thank you so much. That's a great topic for all of us, which we look for, and a lot of readings are available as far as this green economy, green finance, whatever the green we talk about. But there is not much of authentic resources are available. So probably when our students sit with you one-to-one with their papers, if you can give them some more information about, little more information about what is the right way of getting the data as far as the finance sector is considered. That's something which will be of lot of value addition to our students on the other side. Let me move further to Rajesh ji further. Sir, over to you.
Okay, so good afternoon to all. And first of all, I'd like to give a thanks to Rupa ma'am, to Dean madam, and to her entire team for giving this opportunity. And I should acknowledge also that Rupa ma'am, you have received a very, good student. At least they are very obliged. Okay, now
I
coming
think
to
that
my...
deserves a big round of applause, right? He appreciated all the students here. Thank you so much.
Okay. So now coming to my area of research, or what I look in academics. So mainly, in morning section, Madhmi ma'am just opened out the topic like the global warming and this climate change and the impact of these things on our, health, our environment, livelihood. So, it has created lots of problem for the globe, right? And this UNDP, and they have come out with this sustainable, 17 goals of sustainable. And my job is to, in my research, I just look upon how finance can be a policy tool to solve some of the sustainable development goals problem. Like your finance is as Sir was saying, and we read in majorly in economics that is the resources are limited, right? And how to use it efficiently among all the section of people so that we can reduce some of the problem. So here, inclusive financial system can solve the problem of your gender equality, can solve the problem of poverty, can enhance the women empowerment, can be a tools for your innovative work environment, and many other sustainable development goals it can fulfill. But the thing is that it has some systematic linkage, right? We just need to find out what is the formal linkage or systematic linkage that the formal financial system can reach to the marginalized or which we call unbanked people. The second point I would like to raise, earlier, after the post-independence time period, we had a policy system like socialism kind of policy system. And in that, which we mainly call it Hindu growth rate, because of this Hindu growth rate, I would not criticize that. There was certain problem, then we moved to new liberalization policy. And with the introduction of new liberalization policy, many financial institutions like your foreign banks, private banks, they came to India and participated in Indian financial market. And we were expecting that time that it will extend the financial reach to the unbanked people. But over the time, over the period of time, it was observed that as we are expecting, but it could not reach to the bottom of the people. And so my duty is to give some policy suggestion that how to socialize this banking system. Or we can say like your, how to socialize the financial market, right? So that we can achieve or we can solve some of the problem of sustainable development goals. So with this, I will end here. Then I will love to take some questions.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Maybe a decade before, gender equality was one of the social issue. Like only the students of the social science used to study these aspects. I was in Singapore and Malaysia a couple of months before for a learning mission where we visited different companies like Nestle and PwC, GE and all. We realized that these companies also has a committee within which is led by a woman, and they're calling this as a committee for the inclusiveness. So now it's more of a corporate subject than that of the social subject. Like gone are the days where we had those watertight compartment between the social science or the corporate or the engineering or the management. So what you can look for as far as your research topics are considered is more of an interdisciplinary, should be of an interdisciplinary nature than that of getting into a single aspect. Probably, sir, we can throw a little more light on all these issues on the other side. Sir, Dr. Prashant, over to you.
Thank you, ma'am. I thank Rupa ma'am, Dean ma'am, and my classmate from Calcutta University, Priyanka Dasgupta, for giving me this opportunity. I would like to talk about the politics part of sustainable development. In the morning, the keynote address was on education part of it. And I'm going to little bit talk about the politics part of it. And I would not speak all of that. I would like to go to this one. This map basically shows the Sustainable Development Index of the entire world. And as you can see in that map, developed country has, the red index. That is to say that they are doing exceptionally worse in terms of producing higher amount of CO2 emission. Whereas other developing countries like India are in the greener side. The politics part of it is that they are pressurizing developing country to cut down the emission and maintaining their own economic growth, which is shown here. I just took out 4 countries. Over the year from 1990 to 2019, as you can see in the graph, India has been increasing its Sustainable Development Index, whereas the United States is performing really, really bad. And this is happening because they are pressurizing the developing country that you have to compromise with the economic growth. See the Chinese Sustainable Development Index or United Kingdom. All of them are performing far worse. In the morning sessions, the speaker was talking about the individual responsibility of individuals, saying that we need to take care of the environment. What about the responsibility of industries? Which is this one. Bottom 50% population in the world just contribute 1.6 million ton of CO2 per year, whereas top 0.01% rich contribute 2,531 million ton of CO2. So this is the politics I'm talking about. The responsibility is also for them to take care of the environment, not at the individual level. I'm not saying that we should not switch off the light, cut down the AC. These things are important, but we need to pressurize them also. In detail, we'll talk later on. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm sure this itself is a worth, 1,000-page research on the other side. Thank you so much for bringing the aspect of cross-country comparison or cross-cultural issues also will come up in those things. I'm sure the politicians will make it so political in nature, saying that third world countries are supposed to switch off the ACs and lights, or the developing countries are supposed to do that, but which is not the case at all, and this is just because of the vote bank things they are going to do that, and we should be aware of those issues. Let me go to my old friend, Dr. Shubhalakshmi Joshi. Ma'am, over to you for the opening remarks. You're not audible. We need to give 30 seconds time. She was audible earlier when we checked. Ma'am, give us 30 seconds time. Ma'am, you need to unmute the microphone. That's the information which my team has given here. If you can unmute your microphone. She has done that? She has already done that. The people in the console here. It's muted.
Am I audible?
Yeah, all right. Please go ahead with your opening remarks. We'll have the detailed things. Yeah, you can start. Over to you.
Respected panelists and dear students, good afternoon. I was very excited to join this symposium in person, but because of some personal reason, I could not join. But I thank Dr. Shaileshri for providing me this virtual platform. My discussion today is more towards digital farming. This digital transformation is now happening in all sectors of industry, and farming is also now considered to be one of the major players in digital transformation. For farmers, this transformation is possible with one of the latest technology, we call it as IoT, that is Internet of Things. Can you imagine this? It starts from demand and supply of grains, fruits, vegetables from the market to the farmers, and providing supply from farmers to the market is with digital ecosystem. Students, you are from economics and commerce background, you are much aware of this demand and supply, and that is how I am talking about digital agri ecosystem, which needs the farmers to provide the supply as per the demand of the market. There are success stories from our experience from the seed industry. These stories demonstrate how technology is being delivered to optimize the operations, make data-driven decisions, deliver services seamlessly, connect people in new ways, and unlock innovative digital experiences. Together, we are building a digital future and delivering a new generation of growth and opportunity for all. Again, with this new concept of digital farming. So that is the particular area which is also now touched upon for farmers to provide all digital services and to gain more demand from the market and provide the supply. Now data is the most precious asset for any organization, and same is now applicable for the farmers. They can get the data from the market and then they provide the stable the demand of the market. This global shift to more data-driven real-time decision making and business planning, now the farmers are becoming digitally connected and more aware of the best practices. We are working on various projects for this digital farming where the soil sensor, media sensor, environmental sensors are helping the farmers to predict their products, to predict their requirements in future, and this is now going to help the farmers to grow the crop and get better profits irrespective of the weather conditions, irrespective of the availability of the soil or maybe the fertilizers, because it is all provided with digital agri ecosystem. This is all from my side. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you so much. Even in the recent budget, there are a lot of talks about this digital farming and all, which is again the upcoming research area for all of us. Ma'am, thank you so much for joining us. I understand the family emergency which you had, but looking forward to host you in my campus here in Bangalore. Thank you so much. We'll be continuing with the panel experts here on site. Let me open it for some of the questions. My dear students, these questions are curated in such a way that itself is one chapter for your book or maybe the research paper. That's G. Ma'am, its choice is given to you to continue or to leave. I'll leave the choice to you, I said. Okay, all right. Let me just, given the time as a constraint for me and being the moderator, managing the time is my job. That's the reason Professor Rupa has given me the chit also, to manage the time, So given that particular time, let me just go ahead that. Over to you, Rajesh ji, I think we'll start with a couple of questions. What are the factors that leads to the financial, inclusion which we are talking about? I think we'll start with that. Over to you, sir.
Okay, so before going to address this question, let me ask an open question to the students that always we talk about inclusion, right? Maybe it is financial inclusion, social inclusion, or digital inclusion, right? So let me ask a simple question to the student. Have you ever thought why it is necessary to include someone in the system? Suppose in case of digital inclusion, why it is necessary to include a street vendor in the digital form, right? Is it necessary for that vendor? Any answer I would like to take from student. Then after I will go to answer this.
Yeah, some of you, they don't have
why
the
it is
to
important to include someone in the digital system, specifically for poor and marginalized people. Is it important for them?
I'm sure they will definitely say yes to that, but because they don't have the mics, even if they talk also, they will not be.
Okay.
You can go ahead with
obviously, the answer is right. The answer is right because, see, sometimes what happens, the deprivation of one thing leads to deprivation of another thing. Like suppose in case of in development field we are saying, suppose one guy is poor, right? And the poor we measure in terms of consumption expenditure or let's say consumption. Suppose someone is deprived from consumption, that deprivation has it's a negative value itself. Then the deprivation of consumption is leading to another deprivation. That means that man is not able to work efficiently. The health condition of that man is not well, right? So this is another second kind of deprivation. So one kind of deprivation is leading to another kind of deprivation. Coming to this case, in case of financial inclusion, I mean your deprivation from the formal financial system can lead to another kind of deprivation. Like as from women's perspective, they may not get sufficient fund for their entrepreneurship. So that is one kind of deprivation, right? So it is necessary to address that deprivation. And the different causes for this exclusion, that why some people are deprived or excluded from the financial system, it varies from one place to another person, one community to another community. Like suppose I will give, I mean there is, in economic sense we can say both demand side and supply side problems are there. Suppose in case of gender perspective I will take. Sorry ma'am, please allow me to, few seconds I can take. Suppose from gender perspective if we say, for a woman the problem is different, for a man transgender the problem is different. Because I was conducting a study in Delhi and Odisha on transgender people, right? So I found they are excluded from the formal financial system because of not having their proper identity proof. Because they have a gender identity complexity. So that may be a cause for someone to be excluded from the formal financial system. Another factor may be, let's take the case of Bihar. Bihar people, they can be excluded from the financial system because of less income. Right? Suppose let's take the case of Northeast. Northeast people, they can be excluded from the formal financial system because of their geographical area. So this exclusion from formal financial system varies from one place to another, from one community and other community. So my point is, in order to identify the exclusion factor, we need to go to each micro factors so that we can identify the factors of exclusion.
Agreed, completely agreed. So probably for all of us also, the moment we talk about the research, what is the most important thing is to dig deeper and go back to the root cause of the problem so that we can read more and we can come up with a solution. Probably that's the takeaway for all of us. Let me move to Madam Narayani here. Ma'am, you were talking about the sustainability and the SDG and all in your opening remarks. So can you talk a little more about the concerns or the challenges also, as far that is considered? Over to you.
Sure. When I would say it's a new animal in a different form. Earlier we were talking about corporate social responsibility. Then it has taken the form of sustainable development. One of the form of it is ESG. Sustainable ESG, environmental, social and governance parameters. What are the challenges? When I say my campus, this campus is run environmental friendly, what are the parameters should I do? If I say I am healthy, what are the parameters doctor will check? Height, weight, BMI, temperature, all this. If your company is financially viable, what are the parameters check? It's all listed, right? Similarly, if you say I am doing a sustainable business, what are the parameters? How do you quantify? How will you list, report, monitor and continue with that? That is the first challenge. What are the parameters are required? By having an AC, can I say that it is not? Should I have to have all the buildings, green buildings? Should I have to have diversity in my workforce? Should I have to ensure that training is taken care of? As I was saying, all kind of gender inclusiveness is needed, tolerance is needed. So what are the parameters to climb myself environmentally sustainable or socially sustainable? And you can come out with a scale for qualitative factors, for quantitative factors. I want to say add 2 points, resource points for the researchers here. Number 1, ICAI has come out with 17 industries to qualify themselves as sustainable or not. They have come out with the parameters scales. You can take one company and verify whether they are, as per the scale, they are verified or not. That's a good way of looking at it. Second one, if you go to NSC, National Stock Exchange website, you go there, you look for ESG index. They have rated more than 100 companies whether the ESG parameters are fulfilled or not. They've given you parameters. So look for that and check it out. Why Axis Bank is rated low in ESG, when in which SBI has rated high in ESG. So this kind of comparisons are yet to come. The research is yet to come for this. I would say the metrics, the frameworks, as much as it is available for financial evaluation, is not available for ESG evaluation. It is coming up. There is a lot of scope for you to contribute in this area. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So, going back to the root cause of the problem which sir was talking about, maybe we are moving further to finding out the variables, the quantitative and the qualitative and all those things, like where we are developing it step by step, given a particular topic further. Let me go back to the question, Prashantji, over to you. How do we manage the developmental growth, while protecting the environment? Over to you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. As I was talking about that, sustainable development can also be seen from the perspective of politics. Any idea can be seen from different perspectives, like social perspective, economic perspective, political perspective. As a researcher, your job is to find your area of interest, and certainly you have to do exhaustive literature review to find a research question. And there, after that, you will get your research idea that I need to work on that. So, as the question was posed to me that how we can maintain the growth with taking care of the environment. So, in my earlier remark, I also talked about that the politics is played at the sustainable development goal also. Earlier it was a Millennium Development Goal. Since we could not meet it, now we switched to sustainable development goal. And I'm pretty sure we are not going to meet by 2030. We are going to come up with a new nomenclature for that. It's happening because of the politics which is played out. During Trump administration, United States came out of Paris Agreement. And now we are seeing that in my slide I also showed you that the growth which we understand in terms of economic growth is oxymoronic, in the sense that once you talk about growth, it would always degrade environment. And so we need to understand what kind of growth we are talking about. Because in political science, there is a theory called development of underdevelopment. So the growth that we believe that we should focus more on would definitely bring more inequality, degrade environment more, and richer would become richer over the time. In my slide, which I could not show it to you, just 1% population of the world accumulate 40% of the wealth. Similarly, just 10 billionaires in the country emit 15% of CO2 emission. So we need to take care of the dichotomy which we are facing, that how to reconcile the economic growth and environment degradation all together at the same time, which is not happening for sure.
Yeah. Probably the point for all of us again to take it ahead, along with the data which sir has given us, any problem which we are going to analyze will have different angles. It has political angle, it has economics angle, it has social angle. Probably we as a researcher need to think from all the angles and work deeper in our particular angle. That's something which we all need to take it. Let me go further to the economist here who studied economics from IIT Madras. Sir, over to you. If you can talk a little more about the critical success factors, while executing this SDG. Over to you, sir.
Thank you. First, what's required, in my sense, is big picture thinking. If we take the totality of the planet, and sort of recognize that we are in a state of crisis. So there's this multiple cascading, intersecting crisis. There's a crisis of climate change, there's a crisis of conflicts and war, there's a crisis of hunger and poverty. The moment we recognize that we are in a state of crisis and we need a roadmap out of this crisis. So the first thing to keep in mind is the acknowledgement that we are in a state of crisis and we need a concerted, coordinated human efforts to come out of this crisis. And for those of us who are interested in, let's say, behavioral economics, which is rather an emerging field, combination of economics and psychology, it does provide a lot of analytical tools for us to set up various behavioral game models, for example. So if you think about the problem of climate change, for example, and if we think of different countries as different players in trying to resolve this crisis of climate change, those of you who have, I'm assuming a lot of the students here would also be aware of the kind of ultimatum game, for example, where we have different Nash equilibrium that we can arrive at. So if I'm suspicious as a developing country that you as a developed country are not going to invest enough to cut down on carbon emission, and therefore I hold myself from cutting down on carbon emission, then it's going to be a suboptimal economic outcomes for both parties involved. Right? So I was just saying that behavioral economics seems to be quite promising in trying to set up some of these forecasting models in trying to arrive at a optimal economic and environmental outcomes. The second critical factor in my understanding is a commitment to justice. The idea of intra-generational and intergenerational justice. How do we ensure that we have justice across communities and countries in the world today, vis-a-vis ensuring that there's justice for future generations as well? And what kind of planet do we want to leave behind us for our children and grandchildren to live by? What would be the kind of water scarcity? What would be the kind of hostility of the planet in which they have to be inhabited? You know? So that sense of commitment to social justice is probably the second key factor. The third point, and I think this is really important for all of us to understand, is this notion of systems thinking, which the keynote speaker also talked about in the morning. The problem of dropping cats in Borneo Island is a classic example of systems thinking failure. And what we're saying is, when we have any economic or environmental issues around us, those issues in themselves are unaware of what disciplines we are coming from. Right? So we are talking about, for example, social ecological systems, which is a emerging systems thinking approach to resolving environmental issues today. So for those of you who are interested, you would benefit by reading up on this Nobel laureate, Eleanor Ostrom, who championed this idea of social ecological systems thinking. We're saying that social system is one, there's the ecological system, and the interaction of these two systems results in different dynamics and issues whereby by evaluating only one of the two systems, we will never arrive at a solution. We need to understand the interaction of these two systems together. And that's really important and key for us to understand, because when we try to deal with environmental issues, we're also trying to deal with issues of poverty and unemployment, and also of gender exclusion, and also of financial exclusion. So that's the point that I was initially making in my initial remarks, that we try to arrest unemployment by creating jobs. But the kind of jobs that we are creating should be green jobs. So that with one policy, we are sort of aligning both our social and environmental objectives together.
That's a great idea which sir is giving to all of us to work further on, having one policy, So that's one area. Even personally, I would like to read a little more on that. Sir, you were talking more about the green investing and green bonds and all these things. Like I'm very, very excited to listen more about that. So if you can speak a little more on that.
Yeah.
Must be on.
Yeah, green. Yeah, the green investing and the green bond. If I want to talk about green investing, the green investing is nothing, actually, it's not anything new. Just making investment in a traditional investment vehicles like equity shares or exchange trade fund ETF or a mutual fund like that. The thing is, as an investor, I have to ensure in which company share I am investing in. That company is making investment on the environment and socially and in a governance factor, in the ESG. There, they should focus on that. That I have to make a issue. Say that it will be vary from the person to person. For example, for me, if a company is following that environmentally friendly approach, they are following it. But traditionally, their business is not in the green area. Say example that oil companies. The ONGC, take an example of the ONGC. ONGC actually is following that, the good initiative, the green initiative, they are doing it. Even that Coca-Cola, that these water companies, they are following the green initiatives. By looking at that one, if I am making investment there, it's not a green investment. I am just buying that shares from the particular company shares. That is not a green investment. Green investment, actually, that by tradition, that business should promote that environment, should protect that environment, should protect the society in such a way that we should make a investment. For example, that Tata Power Solar system is there. Actually, they are generating that renewable energy. By tradition itself, that business is a green business. So that we can call as a green investment if you are making investment in the Tata Solar system. The green bond, it is a kind of debt security. That bond, very particularly, they used to give it to, the fund will be earmarked to the environmentally or that ESG related projects that we used to call as a green bond. Very recently in the government also is offered that the green government bond, they are offered it for the 20 years period. I think in India that is the third largest bond issue. And in the 2015 itself, the green bond was, which is first is given in the India, that is Yes Bank is offered that green bond. But the problem is, whenever they are offering the green bond, all the fund is earmarked only to the energy sector. So the sustainable investment or that, that should be go beyond the energy. Not only on that, energy sector, the climate related things. There's so many other issues is there. Now the SEBI has proposed that so many bond, like the different colors bond, I used to say like that. Now they are going to give a name as a blue bond. They are going to offer that, another one is called a yellow bond, like that, different colors bond they are offering it. The blue bond actually is going to talk about, the fund will be fully earmarked to that sea or that water related things. And the yellow bond is, that yellow bond fully they are, going to invest on the area of that, I think in the solar energy, in that area they are earmarking it. So as an investor, I should look at that not only, because now the greenwashing, it's a lot of things is the greenwashing is going on. Because, there is a one statistics I should tell this point. Around 49% of young investors, that investors are interested to make an investment in the ESG related business. Around 60% of Gen Z people are very much interested to buy the product and to make an investment on the green related businesses. Why I am telling this point? So the people now very much aware about this. They're very much interested to contribute towards the ESG. But the thing is, the business people is there, no? They are exploiting the investors, exploiting the people. There is a recent study by the PwC stating that the company which is emphasizing more on ESG on their report, right? They are not really doing good on the ESG. And their returns, if you are made an investment on that company, their returns much lower than the traditional investment vehicles. Much lower than traditional investment vehicles. Whereas in the global level, some companies which is doing really good on the ESG, they are outperforming all the peers in the globally. Almost that 25 to 28% of returns higher than the traditional investment returns. Right? So as an investor, we should be very careful with it. The people the business people, they know that people are very much interested to make an investment on ESG related businesses. So they are very much emphasizing and they're very much making the greenwashing things. So you should be very careful on that.
Yeah, that's an excellent way of putting it further. I was actually thinking about green bonds and green investment. Everything has become green nowadays, right? But what is the role of a citizen there? Like sir has rightly put it, saying that whatever youngsters are thinking about and all. While talking too much about the research, ma'am, nowadays, the question is to Dr. Narayani. Nowadays, it's more of ChatGPT giving me the research, than that of I do the research. Students, this is for all of you to note that we have the experts from Narsim Munji, from Symbiosis, from Manipal Academy, from ICFI B School, from Ajim Premji University. All #1 universities are the premium universities in India and in the globe today, in front of you. I just would like to know from each one of them that, what the students do there. Do they also use ChatGPT? And I'm sure if they use ChatGPT, they will not get the package of 20 lakhs or 25 lakhs or 15 lakhs, which they usually get on the other side, right? So it's always my dilemma here, saying that to what extent I need to allow the AI content to be used in the class. When once I say research, it's not the case that they should not use. We are completely okay with the technology. But to what extent we have to use it? Of course, we heard something called ChatGPT a couple of months before. And then we also heard something called GPT-0, which we started, doing all these things. But the good news for all of you students is, of course, it will come to you next week. And I'm just opening it to you that this Turnitin, I'm sure you all are listening to me, which has turned around life, this Turnitin, it has come up with the add-on features now that it finds out the AI content also, right? We are implementing it in MBA in this particular week. This will come to UG from the next week. That's a good news for all of us outside, right? But having talking about this, how do the good universities around the world are managing this, ma'am? Okay. Question over to you.
Thank you, ma'am. It's a hot topic among academicians across world. In my university, NMIMS Nasimonji University, for the past 1 year, we have lot of debates how much we'll embrace it. And last week, I made a detailed faculty development program on how to use AI-based this kind of tools for higher education. So from taking few points from there, number one, we cannot be ostrich. You know ostrich? They'll put their head under the sand. We cannot be. Higher education faculty, students, researchers, we cannot live like ostrich. Actually, ostrich doesn't put the head under that. It turned the eggs which has been kept in their nest under the sand. We assume that they put their head under the sand, but it is not so. But we cannot be ostrich. We have to embrace it. All of us feared Google and Google Scholar when it came. Now, without Google Scholar, nothing is coming. Please don't worry about originality. I want to give one line of consolation for all of us. One of the leading research journal has accepted, it's a ABDC category, has accepted co-author as ChatGPT.
That's great. I think
and one more point. I'll give you the details of it. But I would like to tell the students, please do remember, if you are using entirely ChatGPT to produce your research, companies will employ ChatGPT, not you, premium version. So you should be able to offer opinions, analysis, views, moderations on the information given by ChatGPT. You should be able to add value over and above what ChatGPT writes. That is first point. Number two, it is not only ChatGPT. There are 22. I'll share the link with ma'am or with Rupa ma'am. They will share it to you. There are 22 AI-enabled websites are there. Out of that, 16 or 17 are free. They will write a conversation for you. They will be, if you want to learn Kannada, English, they'll talk as a translator for you. They'll talk with you like chess you play, the card game that you play. They will improve your negotiation skills for you. There are so many ChatGPTs are available. Please Google it. AI part, but also we have other detectors. In that, what we can do, I would suggest is, Turnitin would say plagiarism percentage is 10, 20, 25, 30. Depends on the level of complexity of the project, research report and degree or post-graduation. Similarly, AI in ML interface, we can always restrict 15%, 20%, 30%. Otherwise, students when they go to industry, they will not know how to calibrate these extra tools. And I'll close it with only one more point. In here, IIT student or mathematically very highly qualified students, they learn integration, differentiation manually and they are very thorough with that. But the same student when he goes and approaches in Stanford, he doesn't have to do manual differentiation. You have a MATLAB, you just solve it. But the student should know how to use it. Same thing will happen when you are becoming employable. Better learn the tool and use it at expert level. Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, that's a nice way of putting it. Sir, how are you managing in Manipal?
Hello. Ma'am, recently we are also teaching a student how to use AI and other things. And we have started with some of the basic statistical tools. Later on, we'll switch to ChatGPT. So we have started in public policy department. Yes, we started saying that we need to learn one statistical tool like Stata or R. Most probably R or Python because it gives you a better advantage in the job market. So we are switching to that. As far as ChatGPT is concerned, ChatGPT will not give you the research question or the idea that you want to research on. It can give you the literature review on that idea. Recently, I was applying for supervisorship for guide at Mahe. And I asked that, ChatGPT, can you give me one testimonial, how to write testimonial? And the answer was certainly I can. And it gave it to me. But when you look for a research question, you have to do the exhaustive literature review. Right? So there is no escape of going through the hard way. The ChatGPT will never give you the idea on which there is no research done. So you have to look for the research question, research idea. Obviously, it can read out the entire literature or an article in few sentences.
that you can definitely get help from. But it will never give you the research question.
Yeah, that's right. So probably that's a good news for all of us, so that, like, we'll keep on reading more and more. Coming back to our, basic issue of the SDGs and the sustainability and all. My question to Gopalji here, sir, continuing with the sustainable finance, green finance, which you're talking about. How should the corporate strike the balance between, like this executing this and the top line or the revenue management and all? Over to you, sir.
First of all, that I want to tell you that here we cannot able to separate what do you call the sustainable finance, attaining the sustainable finance and the SDG goals, because SDG goals is a part of sustainable development things, right? Sorry, sustainable finance part. Actually, if I want to tell you very clearly, sustainable investment and the sustainable finance, that from the investor point of view, I'm going to make an investment on the companies. The companies are the business which is operating in the planet. So the planet should be existed. In the planet, the people should be there. Then only I can able to do the business. Right? So in order to get my long-term profit, I should correlate, I should do along with the ESG process. So I cannot able to avoid the SDGs for the long-term growth. So I believe that there is no need to think about how to strike the balance, because my balance itself, I want to grow for the long term. I'm not looking for that only short-term growth, right? So in that way, this is a very, I think this question is...
It's not existing on the other side, because if we have to make more revenue, then we need to be like this.
Yes.
Yeah. Understood. My question to Rajesh, you were talking more about the inclusivity and the gender equality and all those issues further on that. So if you can throw a little light on, the women are out of the formal finance education on the other side. So even if somebody asks me how much is your gross or net, we don't understand on those things. We as a female do not take any financial decision at home, right? So I was watching some of the WhatsApp video also nowadays related to that, where less than 25% of the working women are financially literate, right? So if you can throw a little more light on, how can we add them in the we can make them more of inclusive education. Over to you.
See, the thing is that, those who are coming out from their home and participating in formal employment sector, they are little bit they have little bit knowledge on financial sector. And it is, of course, it is a complex matter. Matter of finance is always a complex matter. Our main concern is those who are coming from the marginalized sector. So, see, we need to, accept these things. Still, we have a huge amount of, your social stereotype on gender stereotype we have. Like, we think women are less capable of, being an entrepreneur, or they are less capable of investing in the financial market. So these kind of stereotype, at least we need to remove from the social side and also from the financial market side also. Because still many of them, they think this stereotype they have and who are there in the financial market. So this stereotype, removing this stereotype can help and can take us ahead, I think.
Yeah, thank you so much. If you have any...
adding into this point, sorry. I did a small research in this line, what you asked it, especially the women, even educated women, they are not taking their own financial decision. Yeah. If you ask me that my better off is actually is a doctor, but no, she never know that how much of amount is there in her bank account. And whatever she need, that she used to ask me, that I used to do that. It is actually, it's not about the financial factor or the numeric factor. Here it is the gap where we are talking about the gender is there. In their mindset itself, it is there like that. we want to make changes that mindset actually, right? Otherwise, it is very tough to bring that inclusion among the women.
Perfect. Maybe the students, if you can take this forward, saying that how can you, especially the women sitting here, the girls sitting here, how can you be financially independent is something all of us we think, even the parents think, but none of us we take the financial decisions. Like I think we need to walk 1 mile extra to take the financial decisions on our own. Something like this we can think on this, and let's take a pledge that we all will be taking the financial decisions by being financially independent. That is more important for all of us, especially the young children sitting here. Given the time as a factor, I need to close this. If you have any open questions in the audience, I might take one. Otherwise, yeah, Madam Rashmita, she's our PhD scholar, published recently in one of the IIMs. I think she's just back from IIM. Ma'am, over to you.
As a research scholar, ma'am told, I'm Rashmita, I'm having a small doubt that all are saying about the sustainability. So everyone says about the political perspective, economic perspective, financial perspective. So as an individual perspective, how much till now my literature review says is a very costlier compare, if you'll see the example of toothbrush is a plastic toothbrush is 50 rupees, where bamboo toothbrush is 150 rupees. So how, my question is that how a consumer can practice sustainable lifestyle if the sustainability is costlier?
Yeah, actually we wanted to discuss something on ethical consumerism also. We couldn't. Ma'am, yes.
See, earlier quality versus cost. If high quality means high cost, that was the scenario. Same way, sustainability is high means high cost. It will come down, but be creative. As she was suggesting, you can take a neem stick, like it will take some time, but don't focus on products. Go focus on processes. Then you will become a sustainable individual. For example, instead of brush may not be possible, but bags are possible. Your clothes are possible. Shoes may not be possible, yes, but your jewelry may be possible. Your shampoo may be possible. So go for as much as of your consumption based on the process, not by the product.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah.
That's my point.
Thank you so much. Some of the students are having the exam at 1:45, so I need to close it. Maybe if you can have 1 minute, closing remark each one of us. So we'll start from the other side. Prashantji, over to you. Just the closing remarks, a minute.
Earlier I talked about the problem that we have, the politics which is played. I did not recommend something. The recommendation comes from various aspects. One of the recommendation which is talked about in economics is to have some kind of social and ecological taxation. And we need to force corporate or industries to adhere to the Paris Agreement. We need to also tax them in terms of what Thomas Piketty calls about universal progressive taxation. That means that the richer you are, you are taxed more. So that companies would not fly to another country in terms of evading tax. So we need to adhere to these two things if we have to save the environment.
That's an excellent solution given. Probably we'll think little more on that. Rajesh ji, over to you.
So my closing remarks will be like, when we say about sustainable development, it is impacted by various factors like your institutional factor, behavioral factor, social factor. Like again, in institutions, some international agencies are there, central government agencies are there, non-government organizations are there. So in behavioral factor also, like diverse factors are there. As a human being, my understanding is it is our duty to understand how much we can understand from others and how much we can implement it. And it is impossible for any individual to understand everything, but at least we can try to understand, and if it is possible to some extent, then we can implement some ideas so that we can reduce this, we can solve this problem. Thank you.
Thank you. You give us a hope that, it has a solution. That's the great thing. Thank you. Gopalji, over to you.
Yeah, my concluding remark, if I want to tell you that as investors, you should make an investment in the environmental friendly business, which can give a 2 or 3 times higher return comparing with the traditional things. But when you are going to make an investment, you should consider that the greenwashing point, greenwashing concept, all those things that you have to consider it, and you should control your biasness, behavioral bias, that also that you have to consider it while constructing your portfolio.
Yeah, thank you so much, sir. Your opening remarks. Closing remarks, I'm so sorry. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah. So the one-liner that I have would be that we're all part of a very complex system in which everything is interconnected. So that whatever we do, think, behave, the mode of travel, the food that I consume, the dress that I wear, all of this will have non-linear repercussions on both living and non-living aspects of this planet. So we got to put a tap on our energy intensity, our carbon intensity. Thank you.
Yeah, ma'am, over to you.
I know you are not able to sustain your hunger. One-liner would be sustainable sensitive. You're all socially sensitive, environmental. So sustainable sensitivity, sustainable quotient. Like you talk about IQ, you become sustainable quotient. Improve your sustainable quotient wherever you are. As a student, as part of a college, as part of any non-governmental organization or a corporate or part of a society. Increase and improve your sustainability quotient. So you can say that in your CV, my SQ is high. Corporate will ask why. Then you can explain your initiatives. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thanks to each of the panel members here. Over to Dr. Rupa for closing remarks. Sunil will be, over to Dr. Sunil.
Right. Thank you so much, all the panelists, for enlightening on sustainable development. Key takeaways from the panel discussion. At any given point of time, we should not compromise on the concept of sustainability. If we are, then we have to pay a huge amount of cost on economic growth. Having said that, sustainability is not specific in nature. It is universal and applicable to all individuals and company. With that note, we are come to the flag end of the event. May I now request Chairperson Dr. Suresh A.S. to give away the memento as a token of appreciation to Narayani Ramachandran ma'am. I request Dr. Rupa Sarkar to give away the memento to Dr. Prashant Kumar Chowdhury and Dr. Rajesh Barrik. Thank you, ma'am. Can I request Professor Chetna Jha to hand over the mementos to Dr. K.C. Adaida and Dr. Suresh Gopal. I would also thank Dean Ma'am for moderating the panel discussion. I have a couple of announcements to make. I request the hospitality volunteers to escort the guests and the head of the departments of both the campuses to a designated venue for lunch. Followed by that, for all the registered participants from various institutions and across the campuses, our volunteers will route you for the canteen, and post that, the workshop is arranged in the classroom in mechanical block. You don't have to worry, we have our volunteers. So post lunch, you would be routed back to the classrooms for workshop. And for our students in EC campus, BBA can go ahead to take up your ISA, and post that you can have a break of 20 minutes for lunch and the classes will resume. For others, the classes will resume now, and for BCom students, as per the schedule, you can go ahead to take the ISA. Thank you so much.